Las Vegas police have arrested a Clark County public administrator named Robert Tellis in connection to the murder of a journalist by the name of Jeff German. Now, Jeff German was a crime reporter over at the Las Vegas Review-Journal, and he was found in his home, or near his home, I should say, stabbed to death. After he was found stabbed to death, there was an attempt to figure out, well, who did this? And there was some evidence. There was a trail left behind, accidentally, I'm sure, by the suspect. And that trail led to Tellis in this case. So let me give you the context and tell you how this all unfolded. Now, veteran reporter Jeff German, who's 69 years old, was a local legend who covered crime, corruption, and politics in Las Vegas. He was found stabbed to death outside his home on the morning of Saturday, September 3rd. On Wednesday, police searched the residence of Clark County Public Administrator Robert Tellis, returning later in the day to arrest him on suspicion of murder. Now, they arrested him because they happened to find his DNA at the scene of the crime. Now, shortly before the announcement that Tellis had been arrested, he was captured on a stretcher, being loaded onto an ambulance. It's kind of unclear why that happened. So we've got that video for you. We could take a look. And I don't know. I don't know if he actually got hurt in some way or if, you know, the news of his arrest freaked him out and he had some sort of panic attack. But the breakthrough in the case came after police released an image of a vehicle that was tied to the homicide suspect, which happened to be a red or maroon GMC Yukon Denali. Later that evening, Review-Journal reporters observed Tellis in the driveway of his home, standing next to a vehicle matching that description. And so there were other pieces of evidence that I want to share with you, including this image. So 2 pieces of surveillance footage in the investigation were made public. The first shows a suspect wearing a wide straw hat, gloves, and a bright orange long sleeve shirt. Authorities believe that that is Tellis. They're alleging that it's Tellis and that he was scoping out the scene of the crime prior to the crime happening. The other surveillance captures a vehicle police say was tied to Tellis, and that's the Yukon Denali that I mentioned earlier. Now, why would Tellis be tied to this crime? Like, what's the motive here? Well, German had been reporting on some of his misconduct while in office, and that reporting, at least in part, contributed to the fact that Tellis did not get reelected. He lost his primary election. And I'll give you more details on what he was accused of doing in German's reporting. But before I get to that, Cenk, I wanted to give you an opportunity to chime in.
So, first of all, this is a huge tragedy because German was one of the very few reporters in the whole country who covered government corruption. So, you know, the right wing say they hate corruption. The left wing says they hate corruption. But the media generally loves it, never, ever reports on it, except German did. And so give him tremendous credit and the Las Vegas Review-Journal a tremendous credit for having the editors and the publishers that allowed that. And then because we're devolving into a developing country that is, you know, bordering on chaos, that he was murdered. Because that's apparently what happens in America these days. So now, I'm often frustrated by how dumbass people are. But in this case, I like when a criminal is dumb enough to get caught. So first of all, you're going to scope out the scene. I get it, the straw hat, so we can't see your face. We can't positively ID you and the gloves, etc. I get it. Except first, you wore a giant neon orange vest around while you're scoping things out. Why didn't you just hang a sign around your neck saying, hey, everyone, look at me. I'm planning on killing someone. Also with the funniest, most ridiculous straw hat anybody's ever seen. In that combo, you didn't think you'd get noticed? Okay. So then the idiot kept the straw hat and the bloody sneakers after he stabbed the guy to death and brought them home. What are you, Trump? Like, why are you bringing the evidence home? I don't mean that Trump's a murderer. I just mean, like, what? Did you keep him in a linen closet, unlocked linen closet? Okay, so I just, look, thank God the criminals are dumb. Yeah, you're supposed to throw away your bloody clothes. Did you learn nothing from the OJ trial?
I mean, he might have learned all the wrong things from the OJ trial, but in this case, I don't think there's any glove situation involved. And so let's talk a little bit about what the motive is. And clearly, Tellis was furious at the fact that there was a journalist reporting on his alleged misconduct within his office. And by the way, the role that he served in Las Vegas was, as this public administrator, is his office would determine what happens to the estate of individuals after they pass away. So that's the role that he served in Las Vegas. But German had recently filed public records requests for emails and text messages between Tellis and 3 other county officials: Assistant Public Administrator Rita Reed, Estate Coordinator Roberta Lee Kennett, remember that name, and Consultant Michael Murphy. Lee Kennett was identified in previous stories as a subordinate staffer allegedly involved in an inappropriate relationship with Tellis. So that's what some of the reporting indicated. Former employees, by the way, had alleged that Tellis fueled a hostile work environment and carried on a relationship that impaired the office's ability to deal with the public. The complaints led to coworkers secretly videotaping the two in the back seat of Lee Kennett's car in a parking garage. The story also included claims of bullying and favoritism by Tellis. And I should also note that in tweets that, as of today, we're still up on Twitter and you could read, Tellis was furious about the reporting. And, he was tweeting at German, saying, oh, don't you have better things to do? So clearly he had a bone to pick with him, especially after losing the primary race.
Yeah, I can't get past the straw hat. Can you guys bring the straw hat back? I want to see that picture one more time, okay? Meanwhile, one of our members wrote, and I love doing the show with you guys. Joe Anderson wrote it. Yeah, he dressed conspicuously during that crime, like a human traffic cone. Okay, so that's true. I love how funny our members are too. tyt.com/join to become a member, or hit the join button below on YouTube. Anyways, that straw hat, that's the one he brought home. That's the one he was using to scope the scene of the crime.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, yeah, that straw hat's a dime a dozen. Could have been anybody. I just can't get over how dumb he is.
And you know what? A good.
Yes.
So hopefully justice is served in this case. I feel terrible that this veteran reporter is now gone. It seems like he actually wanted to hold people in positions of power accountable for their actions. And as you and I know too well, Cenk, that is exceedingly rare in the line of work that we're involved in. So.
Yeah, and one last time, Jeff German, we love your brother. Our hearts go out to your family, to your colleagues. Thank you for being a real journalist. And you see, when there's real journalism, it takes courage.